Tech Hub for a smarter you. Why was IATA concerned about the launch of the 5G and its interference with aircraft landing?
Okay, thank you, Mercy, for having me. I'm just going to address that question. Basically, I'm going to start by saying the fact that the aviation industry globally prides itself as the safest and most secure means of transportation. And so it's actually in order for stakeholders like IATA to raise concerns when there's a new technology that they think may potentially be a safety and security hazard or risk. So it's a normal thing, to raise such concerns. However, these concerns are based on the fact that the 5G spectrum will basically run in a frequency of between 3.7 to 3.98 gigahertz. That's the frequency range for the 5G spectrum, basically. And so their concern basically is the fact that it looks like that spectrum that is reserved for 5G is too close to the aviation aeronautical band, the global aeronautical band of 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz. So the essence actually is that frequency is actually used for aviation, 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz, as against the 3.7 to 3.98 gigahertz that is going to be used for 5G. So the concern basically is about cockpit safety systems like the radar or radio altimeter, which enables the pilot, to be able to land the aircraft, gives altitude information to the pilot and all that, basically. So once there is an erroneous or anomalies that's not detected by the aircraft automation system or the pilot, particularly when it's close to the ground, of course, it's going to lead to loss of continuous safe flight and landing. Of course, the issue of wrong altitude information and all that. So that's the focus of where they're looking at, and of course, that's a safety issue basically. However, let's look at what's the frequency rate, that frequency area, C-band spectrum. That's where the 5G sits, what they call the C-band, because there are several frequency bands for communication, but the C-band specifically is where that sits. And the 5G is using the mid-band spectrum. Actually, there are three spectrums, the low, the mid, and the high. Again, because that mid-band is suited for 5G networks, that's why it's basically being used, and it helps to deliver high speeds, high data throughput across wide geographical areas, basically. So it enables, accessibility to technology, to communities all around the world, basically, when it's deployed. But again, nearly 40 countries have been using 5G technology over the years, particularly in Europe, North Africa, Latin America, and all that, and it's being used based on authorized power levels set by their telecoms regulator. For example, in Nigeria, the NCC regulates telecoms in Nigeria. So the NCC actually is going to set the authorized power levels that enable safe use of 5G that will not be harmful to aviation in any way. So again, like I said, 40 countries have been using it over the years. We've not heard of any harmful interference to flight navigation or any aviation equipment, for a couple of years now.
What's the update in the Nigerian setting? Has it been accepted by the aviation industry? Because of course, 5G was launched by the Yellow Network just a few days ago. Has it been accepted? Has all those concerns been abolished and taken care of? So that when we fly, we know we fly with our eyes properly closed and not be looking, oh my God, where's 5G? Where's 5G? Please let's know what the update is. Thank you.
No, but again, Mercy, based on what I said earlier on, right? Those concerns are actually been taken care of. Now the point actually is, based on what has happened in certain climes in the world, the power levels are set in such a way that it will not create any problems with any of the aviation system and all that. So the NCC itself will determine the power level for Nigeria, okay, and ensure that those power levels are set in such a way that it will not affect any aviation infrastructure, any aviation safety equipments and all that, cockpit equipments and all that. So when you talk about acceptance, NCC has already approved for 2 carriers to provide 5G services. And of course, MTN has already launched, basically, So when you talk about stability, it's already, NCC wouldn't have allowed that to happen if they didn't go through due process and ensuring that all of the parties or stakeholders were involved in the process, because I know NCC did quite a lot of job regards to 5G adoption in Nigeria. Involving stakeholders, including aviation, in the process. Nigeria is on the path, and it's something that we need to have because of the obvious benefits of 5G, to the economy and all of that.
All right, engineer, speaking of the obvious benefits of 5G to Nigeria, let's speak about the aviation sector in particular. How has technology, helped improve the way processes are being carried out and things are done in the aviation industry? I think since you're an engineer, let's specifically look at, the engineering sector in the aviation industry. How has it helped improve the way things are done?
Okay, so interesting. I mean, that's a very interesting question, that you just asked. What 5G is bringing to the table, it's bringing as much as 20 gigabits per second peak data rates. I mean, that's massive. Of course, for average rate, it's going to be about 100 megabits per second. Now, let me just try and break it down a little bit for us to understand that. So for 4G networks today, right, it takes you about 7 minutes also to download a 2-hour movie, for example, right? Now for 5G, it takes 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds. That is massive change from 7 minutes to less than 10 seconds. For engineering, for example, engineering maintenance, for example, aircraft and all that. I'll give one example. Lufthansa Airlines in Germany, they've actually established what they call a virtual table inspection for maintenance and all the operations and all that. So how does that work? It's a collaborative virtual engine inspection between their engineers in Hamburg and their customers all over the world. So what that basically means is that they can stay in Hamburg and help their customers do maintenance and engineering all over the world based on 5G connections. Right. So right now, they have a 5G private network, which is deployed by Nokia for them. They're using for this service basically. Also for training, high definition videos for trainings. So again, operation-wise, capacity building and all that, that's helping for engineering. And that cuts across the entire aviation value chain. The benefits are enormous. I mean, is it passenger-facing services and all that? Is it in-flight services and all that? So because these days you can actually do your Wi-Fi, you can make your phone calls when you're flying. So that's going to increase the availability of that service, as you fly, basically. So there's advanced. Okay, another thing again I want to talk about is, that's what we call unmanned aircraft systems, right? Now, it's actually gradually increasing, the usage of that increasing globally. So it will provide a very good platform for data sharing between the drones that are flying and the stations where the controllers who control those drones are, and also the regulatory agencies that regulate aviation when it comes to air traffic control and all that. So it's going to be faster and easier to monitor drones with 5G going forward. So these are just a few of the benefits that aviation can actually have, but it's going to create jobs. I mean, that's basically going to create a lot of jobs. It's going to help the economy, basically.
Thank you so much for clearing the air and for debunking the misconceptions around the 5G and its impact in the aviation industry. Thank you so much for also joining us on the conversation, engineer.
It's been nice talking with you as well.
On Tech Hub, we help you understand how tech can impact your life.
Your phone and your SIM card is going to be a bigger asset.
And with the power that we have with social media, with the digital space right now, you can be anything you want to be.
Tech Hub, for a smarter you.